sure you want to do that? It's not approved in Singapore. Every time you choose to do a treatment that is not approved by MOH in Singapore, you're putting yourself at risk. Now, some people think that PRP, or platelet-rich plasma, is a magical hair loss remedy, where we inject autologous growth factors into the scalp to make sure that your hair follicles are regenerated. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Now, what is PRP? Platelet-rich plasma is actually a concentrated version of the plasma that you get after you've drawn blood and spun it down in a centrifuge. And this little small concentrated 3 ml volume of true platelet-rich content is injected into the patient's scalp where their hair follicles are undergoing miniaturization. Its intended effect is to deliver growth factors that are of your own origin, specifically platelet-derived growth factor, vascular endothelial growth factor, and various others, to stimulate the hair follicle stem cells to go through a new cycle and signal the hair stem cells to grow thicker, longer strands of hair, reversing miniaturization. Now, in concept, that sounds like a straightforward and ideal solution to hair thinning. However, there are many obstacles that one might face when we are talking about doing PRP treatments for hair loss. The first obstacle is we do not know your original platelet concentration. So if we are drawing blood from you without first doing a test on the number of platelets that you have in the blood, and then we're spinning it down, we're going to assume to a concentration of, let's say, 4 times to 8 times its original concentration, that will give us a platelet concentration of unknown. So the number of platelets that we're actually injecting into your scalp, and consequently the amount of platelet-derived growth factors, vary from person to person. Therefore, the effects are also very variable. Secondly, platelet-derived growth factors have a limited lifespan within the scalp. They are degradable molecules, so your body will break them down and then excrete them once they've done their job of signaling. Therefore, they are not something that lasts very long in the scalp. In such a circumstance, will it truly affect the hair cycle in a meaningful way, whereby the miniaturization is adequately reversed to produce terminal hair shafts, or will they just improve very slightly? So the way practitioners have tried to counteract this diminishing effect of concentration of growth factors in the scalp is to repeatedly administer PRP injections. Then brings on the third problem, which is there's no international consensus as to how often you should be doing PRP treatments. So each time you enter a PRP clinic or a clinic that's offering you PRP jabs to improve your hair density, you're actually removing a certain volume of blood and getting a small volume replaced into your scalp for who knows how long of a potential effect it's going to give you. And repeating it at intervals that your doctor is recommending based on not very solid evidence. And the fourth and the last stumbling block that we face with PRP injections is the pathways for male and female pattern hair loss are actually quite well known to be androgen dependent or sometimes micro-inflammatory changes, right? PRP actually does not address the androgen dependent pathway at all. It only focuses on the regenerative pathway as the sole kind of treatment pathway to help miniaturization reverse. You're actually leaving a big section of patient, pathology that is left uncovered with just using PRP alone. Now, to answer another question, is PRP approved for use in Singapore? Now, some people say that it's illegal. It's not actually illegal. PRP as a treatment is approved for use in sports medicine, for example, joint injections for, let's say, knee osteoarthritis or certain kind of sports injuries. However, it has not been approved for use in aesthetic circumstances, such as facial skin rejuvenation. One could argue that hair loss is a medical condition, but it also has not been approved for use in Singapore as a remedy for male or female pattern hair loss or any form of hair loss. The reason why that's the case is because the accrediting bodies in Singapore are very serious about the evidence surrounding any form of treatments before approving them for use. So In the past, people were doing things like carboxy therapy and various other non-evidence-based treatments for facial rejuvenation, and they have been then outlawed since the guidelines have come into effect in 2016. And PRP lies in that zone where they were doing it because there was no kind of guidelines. But since 2016, PRP has not been available for use for hair loss treatments in Singapore. So what do we do instead? There are certain other treatments that are available for use, and these have been HSA, which is the Health Science Authority, registered products, such as using trichopad. So trichopad relies on a regenerative pathway. If you would like to learn more about trichopading, do refer to our other videos that delve deep into the topic of using shockwave therapy and growth factors to regenerate your hair. One of the other examples is to use Regenera Activa or Regenera AMT, which is a Spanish technology with engineering coming from Italy, a European product that has benefited many of our patients by using autologous micrograft treatments by just harvesting small tissue from the scalp and using that technology to introduce cell signaling regenerative cells into the scalp where your hair is actually thinning. So we've talked about the pros and mostly the cons of PRP and what are some alternatives. Despite that, you're going to still encounter in Singapore that some clinics are going to offer you this treatment. But they're not going to be advertising it because that just puts a big target on their back. But if they're still offering you a PRP treatment in order to treat your hair thinning, just be aware that this treatment has not been approved for use because it's not found to be all that evidence-based in terms of its potency, efficacy, consistency, and safety in the Singapore context. Now, that's gonna change from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, so this video would not apply to, let's say, Malaysia, Thailand, or other places that offer PRP injections. But the general concepts and understanding regenerative medicine still apply. Would you want to use a very short-acting kind of regenerative protocol, or something that has a fixed protocol that lasts a long period of time, such as Regenera AMT? So while PRP may not be available here in Singapore or in Terra Medical Clinic, there are other safe and reliable techniques that we do offer to counteract the regenerative pathways that affect male and female pattern hair loss. And you can look at our further videos that delve deep into those topics because we focus a lot on doing hair loss treatments with the view of covering a holistic aspect on our patients, both in nutrition, regenerative pathways, as well as using medication or surgery to improve the appearance of their hair. If you like this content and you want to follow us for more hair loss and hair restoration related content, please click like and subscribe, and do leave us any questions you have in the comment section below. And I'll see you next episode.